Most people in positions of authority are not really leaders. They have power, but they use it so often to enrich themselves and those they know, rather than to really serve others. Their primary concern is not to better society, but to amass even more power for themselves. Every decision seems to revolve around what is good for them rather than what is good for others and the common good. In their minds, the rules apply to everyone else, but not to them. They demand a lot from others, but hold themselves to a much lower standard of accountability. On the other hand, my brothers and sisters, real leaders do not seek power for its own sake, but as a means to help others, to serve others, particularly those who are the poorest members of society, those who are most forgotten. They use their authority to help those with the least power, even though it might come at a great personal cost. They hold themselves to a high standard of integrity and expect others to do the same. They never ask others to do what they are not willing to do themselves. They lead by example, and that is why people follow. Jesus was a real leader. In fact, Jesus was the greatest leader who ever existed. He is the Good Shepherd who is a model for all those who feel called to be leaders themselves. Today's gospel is a supreme example of this. He gathered for the Passover with the 12 men he had been mentoring for 3 years. And not only did he choose them to be the first leaders of the church, but he loved each of them personally and dearly, even Judas, who would betray him. Loving them as he did, he wanted to show them not only by word, but by example, how they were to conduct themselves. So he did what only the lowest servant would do. He washed their feet. We can see how shocking this was by Peter's reaction. He absolutely does not want Jesus to wash his feet, but Jesus insists. Why? To show them that though they will be leaders in his church, no task can be below them. They are to show everyone love, from the highest court official to the lowliest leper. And they are to serve everyone no matter what the personal cost. It was because of Jesus' example of love and service that Christianity spread so very quickly. It shocked people to see how the Christians lived. It shocked people to see how poorly the early Christian leaders lived. They were used to religious leaders who were wealthy, who extracted large donations from people, and who used their positions for their own advancement. It also shocked people to see the apostles reaching out to prostitutes and lepers and tax collectors. They were used to religious leaders who mingled among emperors and governors and wealthy landowners. But the apostles and their followers, they were in the streets, they were in the jails, serving what were considered the dregs of society. In a few minutes, my brothers and sisters, we will commemorate what Jesus did on that first Holy Thursday, how he washed the feet of his disciples. But let us not forget that there's more than just a nice gesture. We must realize what it truly means and the radical love it calls us all to. It teaches us that if we profess to be Christians, no act of love is beneath us. If my brother needs his feet to be washed, then I must do it. If my sister needs my coat, I will take it off, and I will give it to her no matter how cold it is. It also means that there's no one who we disqualify from our love. even if they make it extremely hard for us to love them. There is no human being whom we do not need to serve. No matter what sacrifice it demands of me, I must be willing to do it if I am a follower of Jesus Christ. If it means and costs me my reputation, my friends, if others make fun of me, reject me, persecute me, if we do anything, we must be willing to truly follow the example as Jesus set out for us. If what we do does not cost us anything, if it does not involve some sacrifice, then it's not good enough. Then we're not really following the example of Jesus Christ. If you and I are not following the example of Jesus Christ, we are not living up to the call of our baptism. And admittedly, these seem to be very strong words. My brothers and sisters, how can any of us look at the cross and say that Jesus does not demand a lot from us? He was willing to go to that extreme to save us. How can we spare ourselves when so many of our brothers and sisters need our help? So many of our brothers and sisters need to come to know the very love of Jesus Christ, and they will not know it unless we have the courage to sacrifice and show it to them. And the truth really is, we cannot grow as a church unless we truly follow the example of Jesus Christ. Unless our love is shocking, unless it makes people jump up like Peter did and take notice, then oftentimes it will not inspire. We'll just simply look like everybody else. My brothers and sisters, Jesus has shown us the way. He has walked it himself, sacrificing himself to a shocking degree. And we must do the same. There is one other thing that great leaders do. They leave a legacy. On this Holy Thursday, we celebrate the great legacy of love that Jesus left us, his very body and blood. There is nothing that Jesus has not given us, right down to his own flesh and blood. It was poured out for us on the cross, and now it is given to us for our food and drink for our journey of life. Jesus asked a lot from us because he has given us a lot. He does not expect us to do it alone, however, my brothers and sisters. He knows we cannot do it with our own strength. So that is why he leaves us his body and blood to nourish us and strengthen us. He leaves it to us also to inspire us. He has given himself to us. And now, my brothers and sisters, we must give ourselves to others. He has shown us the way. Now it is up to us to follow him by sacrificing ourselves in service of others. I invite you for just a few moments to put yourself at the Last Supper on that first Holy Thursday. And I want you to see Jesus look you in the eyes and tell you the same thing he told his apostles that night. Do you realize what I have done for you? You call me teacher and master, and rightly so, for indeed I am. If I, therefore, the master and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash one another's feet. I have given you a model to follow, so that as I have done for you, you should also do.